for higher level maths, we no longer use degrees as much, and instead we change to something called radians. So the aim of this presentation is that you should be able to recognize what a radian is, and hence be able to convert between radians and degrees. So this is a unit circle. So a unit circle is a circle with radius 1. 1 unit is basically what that's saying. It's something we come across quite a lot. This year, this is about as much as what we're going to be looking at it. But this is a unit circle. A radian is described as the angle that subtends the center of a unit circle by an arc of length 1 unit. Now, what that basically means is that this angle in here is said to be 1 radian if the arc length is the same as the radius. So my radius is 1 unit, my arc length is 1 unit, so my angle is 1 radian. Now, if you think about this, in a circle with radius of 1, the circumference of a circle is 2 times pi times r. So 2 times pi times 1, which means that in a full circle, there is a total angle of 2 pi radians. So 2 pi radians for a full circle is the same as 360 degrees, what we've previously used to measure an angle, degrees. Which means that if I half my 2 pi, half the full circle, and only go to here, so from here to here, then the angle that I'm looking at is 180 degrees, or half of 2 pi, which is just pi. So this angle would be pi. What we're going to look at doing is actually calculating this so we don't have to, I suppose, manipulate that 360 degrees to pi knowledge. And we'll do some calculations with this. So to convert between radians and degrees, going degrees to radians, then you need to multiply by pi and divide by 180. So this is your formula to get into radians. Degrees times pi divided by 180. Some examples of this: converting 30 degrees to radians, so 30 times pi divided by 180. Doing some simplification, you get pi on 6. Radians has a symbol of like a little c, so I've put my little c there. 45 times pi divided by 180 is pi on 4, and 120 degrees converts to 2 pi on 3. Now note all of these have the little c to represent radians. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but you actually don't need to show that c for radians. Now, radians to degrees. Radians to degrees is a flip of what the previous conversion was. So previously it was degrees times pi divided by 180. For this, it's radians times 180 divided by pi. So it's actually just a rearrangement of the previous formula. And we can do some examples on this one as well. So pi on 4 to degrees. We go pi on 4 times 180 divided by pi. Now note my pi's are going to cancel out with each other, and 180 divided by 4 will give me 45. So pi on 4 is the same as 45 degrees. 3 pi on 2 times 180 on pi. My pi's cancel. My 180 divided by 2 is 90, and 90 times 3 is 270 degrees. Last one, 5 pi on 6 times 180 on pi. Pi's cancel. 180 divided by 6 is the same as 30. 5 times 30 is 150 degrees. So that's converting to degrees. Note my degree symbol on each of those answers. That is a requirement. So on that, degrees have a degree symbol. Radians have their own special radian symbol. It's like a little C. You must always show a degree symbol. If you have a degree answer, you must show a degree symbol. However, for radians, you do not need to show that symbol. It's an assumed radian if no symbol is shown. So if you fail to put in a degree symbol when you mean degrees, then I will look at that and go, this is a radian question. So be careful that you do include the degree symbol, and then if you put in a radian symbol, that's fine, but you really don't need it. Okay, on our calculator, in order to be able to convert between the two, note in the top corner we have degrees. It says DEG, degrees. So currently this calculator is set to degrees. We can convert that by going through Document, and then Settings and Status, and then Document Settings. Note the second one in Document Settings is Angle. In this settings, we have degrees, we've got radians, and we've also got something called gradians. We'll be converting between degrees and radians, so the first two are really important. We won't be using gradians. So I'm going to change the calculator into radians, and I've set that. Notice the top corner, I've now got RAD. It's telling me my calculator is in radians. Now I can make some calculations. So sine of pi on 4, for instance, is root 2 on 2. Now I would assume, based on our previous calculations, that 45 degrees is the same as pi on 4 radians. So sine of 45 degrees should give me the same result, and it does. So sine 45 degrees. Now note, my calculator is in radians. My first question, I just wrote what my angle was, pi on 4. The calculator is assuming radians because my calculator is in radians. For the second question, I wanted that to be a degree. So I went down to my pi button, and in there you'll see that one of the first options is actually a degree symbol. So I've written sine 45 degrees, so my calculator knows that I'm actually using degrees. Now, if I was to do the same thing and not write the degree symbol, then the calculator is just going to assume that this is some decimal value. It's a radian value, so sine of 45 radians, which if I go as a decimal is 0.85, which is not the same. It's not the same angle or the same ratio that I looked at the top. So pi on 4, sine of pi on 4 is root 2 on 2. Sine of 45 degrees is root 2 on 2. Sine of 45, this is radians, is 0.85. So there is a difference there. You do need to be careful in your calculator that your settings are correct.